right, Bills almost pulled off the big upset to set a series of dominoes that could have been unbelievable for the Bills and put a lot of teams in a position of concern. Now, I don't think they didn't do that in the sense that they played so well on the road against a 9-1 team that I think the future, starting with KC in 2 weeks, could still put them in position to be a team of great concern. I don't think the Bills' season's over. Clearly, though, my Dolphins team has a stronger edge, 2.5 games, but nothing is decided. I've been hooked up to the Twitterverse stuff, and some of it's so funny, and it's like these quick little witty one-liners, but the real root underneath of the value of what's being said is almost like negligible. Everything is hyperbole, and it's distilled down to just one thing. Bills played excellent. Allen played excellent. There were some small things that was in their control that could have flipped it to their side. Clearly, the refs. It's not just, I don't know if the Eagles get the calls. I don't watch enough of their games. But I do know I watched all the games that day, and there was so many calls that if I had hair in my head, I'd have ripped it out because they were non-calls. And then you get these other calls. They're like, if you make this call, how did you not make that call? It's so ambiguous. There's so much fog of war over this reffing. And like I said to my Dolphins got screwed a little bit more than the Bills as far as calls go, but there were things within our control in the Eagles game that could have overridden these crappy refs. We didn't take advantage of it. And the Bills didn't take advantage of it either, but they played so well. And so you got to work with what you saw here and not go, we're done. There is great opportunity. KC is not a juggernaut. And if you look at the way the Bills played, the Eagles, it gives great hope, if you're a Bills fan, that you can take on KC. Now, yes. I know the refs, this and that. But if you watch even from, I said this to my Dolphins, I'm not just saying this to you, but if you watch some of the calls, like say the holding calls on some of these D linemen that weren't called, this NFL reffing system is the worst in all professional sports. This is the worst year I've ever seen, and it's all over the place. Now, I don't know if it's fixed. I don't know if they just make it so wild and so much ambiguity that they could fix it within this and you don't really know, or these guys are totally idiotic, inept, and don't deserve to be reffing on a professional level. Whatever the case may be, whether it's fixed or idiotic, it's got to get fixed. But teams need to still do what they need to do because it's not changing. It's sad to say, I love this game. There's always been a little bit of problem with calls, but it is wild now, and there's no other way. You just got to deal with it. Sad to say, but true. So the things within that are good for Bills fans. Brady, this is like almost what I envisioned for your offense 3 years ago when I started covering you guys. And you can see how it benefits everything. Now you have a better offensive line now than you had back then, but the philosophy drives the offense. And you have the right philosophy now. Little tweaks here and there. Certain things I saw that I thought maybe could have been done a little bit better, but it didn't determine a game. But Brady is light years and beyond, infinity and beyond, than Shaky Bones Dorsey. And so that's got to be great news. I'm sure it's not totally consoling news, considering you are now 6-6. But what a game it was. Now, Allen, he had the pick, and people are going to fixate on it. Especially, I even see my Dolphins fans talking about Brady. I think Romo does have a man crush on Allen, but it doesn't take away from what Allen did. Some of those runs, some of those passes, unbelievable. The pick it's a rainy day too. This guy Allen, and for my Dolphins fans, Tua And we were doing a live on AFC Shakedown. It was really brought to my attention how much Dak gets this stupid talk. I think it's driven from the big time media and maybe this Twitterverse crap. But all three of these guys are good quarterbacks. To me, I think Dak's a little bit underneath as far as the talent goes, although he's got a nice diverse set of talents and he's driving this Dallas team very, very well. But it's all hyperbole. Now it's Herbert sucks. You know, it's so sad. Herbert went from a short game, like West Coast offense, to an Air Coryell offense in one season. He's got all kind of problems. Anytime you switch an offense over and you got some issues inside your system, there's going to be problems. This guy could play. Tua could play. Allen could play. Dak could play. None of them won Super Bowls. So it's just a wait and see thing. But Allen, I mean, just that big throw to Shakir on first down, that before the horse collar, that was unbelievable. That one where he rolled out, and I was like, what is that? And it hit Diggs for the touchdown down low. That was an unbelievable pass. There was some big runs, especially in the third quarter. Oh, he broke it off for the touchdown. The running game was really, I think he had over almost 25, 26 carries on by the running backs. And this guy Johnson you got in the background, he was pretty nice addition. Well, between Brady calling what he called it, Allen doing what he did, you almost beat the best team in football in their house with refs that seem to love them more than Romo loves Allen. Now, there were certain things on Brady. He was a little slow. I didn't like the early draw plays on 3rd and 2, but then he morphed back into under center and he fixed it and got there. And there was a few other plays I didn't like. I thought that last drive where you just ran inside, that should have been about 2 drives earlier. And it would have kind of alleviated the pick. It's a rainy day. It got a little pass happy in that third quarter-ish. And that last drive was a great drive, but I thought it should have came a little bit earlier. It didn't. I like to see Gilliam in the background, in the backfield, blocking. There was one key play. It was a 3rd and short, though. And it was the first down on that, on the 4 or 5 yard line when they got the nice punt and pinned you guys. And you ran counter action offset a weak look. I think it was weaker straw. I can't remember what a tight end was. And you ran counter action back with Gilliam as the fullback. I didn't like that call. You know, when you're that close and you got that kind of front, the counter action in a critical situation like that is not wise because you let guys in and you don't want to do that with these kind of guys. Too much chaos. I thought you just nosed up, ran a single eye, and then it would have been unknown which the strong side was. 2 tight ends. You have Kincaid on the right side, and you worry about him peeling and going, and then you just run at that A gap. I thought that would have been a much better design than the counter action offset eye, whether it was weak or strong. I can't remember. But other than that, I thought Brady did a great job. And the thing he was noted for in college with Burrow and Chase was designing route combinations to get guys open. And you saw that. Now, the Eagles' defense secondary isn't the greatest ever, but when you combine it with that pass rush, and they got Byard from Titans, you could see Brady is your guy, at least for now. Now, the penalties, yes, the refs didn't call some things. There was a holding call and pass interference, however you want to call it. I think it was pass interference that should have been called. I think it was Sherfield. Obviously, the horse collar. There was a bunch, stupid calls. But those false starts, the early penalties. Yes, it was a 10-1 disparity in the first half. But that, some of those things you could control. And what you could control is what you could do to get the game in your favor. And that's got to come to McDermott. Now, I'll get into McDermott in a second and the rest of the stuff that I saw. But I want to let you guys know the likes, the subscribes, the comments, the views, all that stuff makes this show. So please like, subscribe, and comments. Especially I love the comments, the views, watching the full videos. And if you've subscribed, hit the notification bell. Without the two of you, without you and my sponsor, that's the two of you, early in the morning here, this show ain't going down. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. McDermott called an excellent game. I thought that early first drive where you just put pressure on Hurts and you got the ball back, the 2 field goals kills you would have won. Or at least brought it into overtime. I think you would have won because it wouldn't even gone into overtime. Certainly if you had both of them, you would have won. And that's not, I mean, it's on McDermott, extraneously because he's in charge of everything. But that's the kind of stuff you can't have happen. Now, McDermott, like I said, he had that pass rush early. You got down there. But you couldn't score. You had the 3rd and 2, and you called a draw, and then to get back, you got to seize the momentum when you can get it. And I don't really blame Brady because he's feeling it out. I don't blame McDermott for the missed field goals because ultimately it is, but that's on the kicker. But McDermott called a great game for most of the game. It was that second half, though, and it felt like he didn't make the right adjustments. I don't feel like his calls were adjusting to what the Eagles were doing and allowed them to get steam. And he called a critical zero blitz that got, the big play at the end that changed the course of the game. And I didn't like his calls towards the end. And so I liked the philosophy. I liked what he brought. I liked what the Bills did on defense as far as the players. But there was a little bit of a lack of adjustment. And he wasn't making the best calls. There was some nice calls in there in the third quarter. It was about 2 or 3, but he needed to dial up more because that's his specialty. And I don't blame him for the loss, but if you lose, ultimately it's going to come down, especially when the defense has the ball. There was that one play where you broke up the pass. If you just tackled the guy, man, that could have changed the game too. So many points that could have changed the game. Cook had that drop, I believe, is on the first drive. I think it was. He had the false starts and then he had the drop that hurt. That would have been a touchdown. Then there was like a 3rd and 2 maybe on the next drive. I can't remember exactly. There was the int, obviously, by Hurts. That was a huge play that turned it around. No points on the second half opening drive. I thought that was a chance to seize control. You didn't get that because Eagles came back and drove down the field. Big catch. That nice catch by Cook was beautiful. The Allen run for the first. The second and 7. It was a draw play. McDermott, like I said, slow to adjust. That Hurts play to Zacchaeus, man. That was a backbreaker for the touchdown. I couldn't believe that. That was the biggest play of the game. I think Allen to Diggs was the biggest, but that was the second biggest. And I said the run. There should have been a little bit more running. I thought Murray should have got a little more of the ball inside. I don't know why Cook was getting the ball that much. Although I liked when you ran under center and you hand him the football and he comes at the A gap and then he bounces it out to the C gap and he takes it to the edge. That's something that he can do on a regular. But it was in plays. Kelsey had those 2 penalties and then the 59-yard field goal. Maybe that was the biggest play. That was unbelievable. And then Diggs had the drop in the overtime. That was huge. Allen had the run to pull it back out. And then it was the Davis-Allen thing. My Dolphins had the same thing against the Eagles. There was one with Cedric Wilson. It was a blitz play, and then the receiver just didn't read the hot route right. He went deep, and he should have came short, and 2 or 3 was short, and they were calling him an idiot. He didn't know what to do. And then the same thing on this one. Davis didn't get it right with the hot route. That would have been the game. So many points that could have turned this thing around to this huge victory. I mean, 7-5 is much different than 6-6. But 6-6 could still be 11-6. You got the bye. You got at KC. Absolutely must win. You got to win. Season's over if you lose. Not definitely. If my Dolphins lose somehow some of these games they shouldn't, then maybe not. Cowboys. It's going to be tough, but it's going to be home. At Chargers, you should win there. Patriots, you should win there. And then you got the Dolphins, which is going to be a must win. So, you're talking 8-6 with 3 critical games: Chiefs, Dallas, and Miami. It's going to take big boy pants to win. I don't know how it's going to play out. I know that Week 18 is going to be big. I thought it would be big for both teams. It still might be, but you could still at least play spoiler to my Dolphins, which I hope you don't do. But if you come out in 2 weeks and beat KC, my Dolphins have a beat-up offensive line. They're going to have some body blow teams that should win, but could really put some body blows on us. And maybe the Commanders could take one. It'll put you in position. But my Dolphins are in control. You guys are going to have to play your lights out and win some games that we lost to the Chiefs. We're to play Dallas. How we played Dallas, how you played Dallas, both are home games. Going to be big. We beat Chargers. You got to beat the Chargers. Patriots, if you don't beat the Patriots, then forget it. I still think this Week 18 thing is going to be big. Anyway, this is Curtis saying thanks for stopping by, Bills fans. Don't hang your head too low. There should be concern, clearly, but there should still be some hope. I do believe Week 18 is going to be big. So anyway, I'll try to get some more coverage to you guys. I think you're headed in the right direction. I just don't know if it's going to be fast enough. It will be very interesting in 2 weeks. Curtis saying catch you next time. Be well. See you soon. Start building your own online sportsbook today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.